But really, guys, to wrap this up and package it all nicely for you, the biggest thing that I can say from, my lessons with just, the relationship with my dad and relationships in general is that you got to stop settling for less than you deserve. And, in the past, you might have had one thought of how you should receive love and how, affection should be shown and given to you, but nobody deserves to go to bed, feeling like they're not enough or they're not worth, being loved right. And love is something that should make you feel whole and happy. And if you're in a relationship where you don't feel whole and happy, and there's always some chaos, there's always drama, there's always any kind of emotional abuse, if they are talking down to you, or really just anything that is negative, you've got to cut that out. You've got to stick to the commitment of removing not only just your father figure toxic people from your life, but just toxic people in general. You've got to get those people out of your life. You've got to remove that energy from your life, and you have to stay committed to keeping those people and influences out of your life. It's an adjustment, but it's a much needed adjustment, especially when you're trying to move in a more positive direction. A lot of those, the people from your past that may have been treating you in a not so great manner, they need to stay in the past as well. And a lot of people aren't going to, approve or support, your newfound glory and positive change in your life that you're trying to invoke, or, whatever the case may be. If you do a career change, you might have family members that might not support you, really, just because you're breaking out of that mold that, you've kind of been set in from birth. And that is okay. That's what you should do. Your childhood conditions or your life conditions, how you grew up, shouldn't set the tone for how you continue your life. It isn't a set in stone rule book that you have to live your life the way that your parents did, or the way the people around you did, or whatever your environment was. Just because you grew up around people, who were doing, some not so great things, doesn't mean that you have to follow that. Just because, your parents, had a relationship that was not so great, or, they talked to each other, some kind of way, doesn't mean that that's the example that you have to continue to live your life and your relationships by. That's something that a lot of people struggle with, because they think that, well, this is, as far as I can go, or this is as happy as I can be, this is as great as I can be, or they're afraid to, per se, step on the toes of other people around them, because they didn't do that. They didn't have somebody to tell them, like, hey, you can be your own person and set your own rules for your own life. But there's going to be a lot of people who aren't going to be supportive and proud of the fact that you are making this improvement, that you're making this change, and you're breaking free from a life that you thought you had to live. You're your own person. And really, honestly, guys and girls both, if you are somewhere around people who are going to push you, to make decisions that you aren't comfortable with making anymore, if you're really trying to change your life around, get help. You can do this, and you need to do this, to be the best that you can be. I'm not going to say that that it's easy, and it's because it's not. I mean, you're literally retraining your mind, and that's something that, it isn't going to happen overnight, but it will happen with continuous practicing of saying, no, I've got to keep these boundaries. I have to set these boundaries. People might try to come back into your life that are no good. You have to keep those boundaries and say, hey, I'm gonna have to love you from afar. Even if that's family members, just love them from afar, because people can take on the energy of others unknowingly, and their energy, if it's bad, will bring you down, put you right back where you started, and really set you back. If you're an addict, if you have people who are, who have been addicts, like it's like that. You'll relapse in a way, and you'll start dating those not good people. You'll start, picking back up on those, bad patterns and hanging out with those bad people. You have to keep the boundaries up. You have to tell your mind every time it wants to go back to those negative ways and those negative thoughts, you have to nip it in the bud. Hey, no, I'm better than this. I deserve better than this. I'm going to get better than this. I deserve to be treated with love and respect, and I am going to not settle for anything less than that. Every day, say, I'm enough. I deserve a better life. I deserve, happiness. I deserve love. I deserve respect. Whatever affirmations you want to say, I would recommend doing it before you go to bed, after, whenever you wake up, throughout the day, just whenever. But if you want to make a vision board of what just pictures of what you'd like to have in your ideal life, do that. But you have to stay committed to yourself, because you're not doing this for anybody else. This is for you and the betterment of your life. And just stay diligent, guys. I mean, if I can do this with everything that I've gone through, then you can do this too. Keep your boundaries. Tell people, hey, you don't. I'm going forward somewhere and you're not falling into the pattern of it. You're not going to, you're going on a completely different path than I am. I'm trying to better myself. I'm going to love you from afar. That's just the easiest thing to say to really anybody is I'm going to love you from afar because you've been trying to bring me down and I'm not trying to be part of that misery party. So stay strong, guys. I believe in you and you've got this. We've got this.